Um, of course,
Quite the map.
before we talk about this game in particular, even though I am very excited because Prism and R2 both have shown great calls and shot calling and drafting, and pretty much just walked over all over their opponents in the first 2 weeks. I want to talk about the big news that dropped today, and that is the new PTR patch.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
had a chance to review those notes?
I did. I read through those. I actually read through them twice. Believe them.
I so yeah, there's Malfurion, Chen, and
ETC.
Nazebo are basically new
Oh yeah,
heroes,
yeah,
and then ETC got some talent reworks. He got his most powerful or his power slide talents baseline now, and got buffed. But I know we all know what ETC can do. His kit hasn't changed. He just got buffed because he's getting some free talents essentially. But Malf, Chen, and Nazebo, those look like really, really strong reworks to me. But I have that kind of reaction to almost all reworks, so I'm not sure I can trust myself. But Chen looks like he can be absolutely unkillable. Pressure point at 13, like 3 levels earlier, is insane to me. He has that new talent too. If he doesn't want to take pressure point, where he can reduce ability damage just by setting people on fire for like 3 seconds. Just absolutely crazy.
yeah. Withering flame, or yeah,
Yeah, I think
withering
it's Withering
flames.
Flames.
Yeah,
Yeah,
setting an enemy hero on fire reduces their ability power by 25% for 3 seconds.
yeah, and
And
that's
I think that's the first talent of its kind to reduce an enemy hero's ability power. Is that right?
yes. I don't. At least I. Yeah, no, I'm
I
pretty
can't
sure
think
it
of
is.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So there's a unique ability for Chen, which is cool. And I mean, we know we're familiar with a grandmaster player who actually played for our chair league team last week, who is a master of Chen. He is just phenomenal on Chen already. I can't fathom what he's gonna do with all these buffs.
yeah. He's probably just gonna play Chen only for the rest of the day or the rest of the time until something happens to him,
Until
because
they nerf him. Yeah.
there's just absolutely no reason not to if you're already good with Chen. I've tried. I don't know. I can't manage my brew cooldown. It's I know it's only 5 seconds, but if you get interrupted or something, it's just, I don't know. It's so devastating.
Well, now he's got that talent too that reduces the cooldown
Yeah.
if you get interrupted that first time. So it's even easier. So we'll see. And then I really like the changes to the Panda Pals. They seem really good now. Like 75% of Chen's base health on them, which is superb. And then just all the like the active skills they put on each one. It's just I really like the changes for sure. And Malf, the we've already talked about like super frostbite chaining with icy veins and innervate.
Yeah. Something else too that's cool about Chen is the regen globe talent that he's going to be able to have, where after he completes the quest, half of the shields from his brew are indefinitely retained.
Yeah, I just that's unreasonable. I wonder if they're gonna have a shield shredding hero at some point or something. I don't know, because yeah, and with the shade like talent, the one that evades, he can also just like infinitely sit at your tower nowadays. Like, because the cooldown's so short, it's like 20 seconds and then gets reduced by auto attacks. Oh, it looks like our draft has started though, so we're gonna jump
Okay.
into this game. Just a reminder that Infernal Shrines was R2's pick. They were the away team this week, so we'll see if they have anything special prepared. And Prism's already suspecting they do because they banned Lost Vikings, which is not very popular on this map.
No, it still provides a lot of early XP soak, and we do know how this map can be pretty snowbally. If you have no ability to contest an objective point because you're behind a talent tier, so as the Lost Vikings continue to soak while you are trying to take maybe not the first and possibly not the second, but once you get to this possibly second or third shrine, you most likely will have ultimate abilities before your opponents, so then they wouldn't be able to contest. So maybe they're just trying to ban something that they don't want to play against, so they get Zagara or Falstad, which both have extreme benefits on this map. But we do see Sylvanas, the other pick here.
Yeah, Sylvanas is such a power pick. And then, of course, the other one is Kerrigan.
Yeah. I was just about to say that, yeah. Kerrigan can solo those shrines with her talent abilities at 1 and 4, becoming just infinite sustain on the shrines, just 4-man defend and have Kerrigan take the shrines, and it doesn't take very long, less than a minute, and Kerrigan's already done with it. So very good pick up there.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about her, in addition to her getting infinite sustain off the monsters, is she can move around while doing it. The monsters are usually very spread out in the shrine, so anywhere she needs to go, she can just hop onto a minion, kill it, gain health and mana, and then hop onto her real target. And all that movement can be very confusing, make you miss skill shots, and in addition just lets her, jump around, dodge, or engage, or whatever she needs to do. And now we see another very popular pick, at least in North America, for this map in Zool. Now, Zool, of course, will kind of do the lane... He can control 2 lanes. I mean, we say this every week. He controls 2 lanes all by himself, and then you could have the other 4 people worry about the remaining lane, which really provides you a big advantage. Now, if you choose to go with Zool in the roam, which is what I prefer, you have Zool in the 4 as part of the 4 roaming, then he provides a very strong ganking tool in Bone Prison as well. So
and the trait obviously is going to make sure that the towers of their ammo, thus meaning that you're going to have more advantage to take out towers earlier in the game, which leads to an XP lead, which leads to winning the game. So
yeah, and then
Zool can be very good.
Yeah, and it also forces your opponents to kind of make a decision, or at least wait to make their decision, because they have to make sure that Zool is in fact either going to the shrine or not, or otherwise you have to address him. You can't just leave him out during the shrine phase, because he will take down 2 walls or take down a fort or something like that. And we see the other pick.
Yeah, second pick of Li Ming. It's very powerful. Not popular on this map because of the monsters on the objective point, but she still does a lot of work off the objective, so we'll see.
But even on the objectives, once she gets Calamity, she can clear out quite a few, and and she's just she makes it so that you win the poke war, right? So, and she's not the worst against Kerrigan. If you can predict where she's going to try and land her combo, you can blink to the side, and she's one of the few squishies that might be able to get away from her. So.
Big read on melee comp, huge dive comp here coming off Prism. I really think that R2 needs to address this in the form of either Material or Uther, which they did decide to address Uther. But Greymane, Muradin, Kerrigan, all melee heroes. Greymane, Kerrigan, huge dive. Muradin, able to be a dive hero because of the Dwarf Toss. Just insane amounts of dive here. So they're really being aggressive with this draft.
Yes, and I like it. I mean, I always said that Greymane was one of my favorite counters for Li Ming. He is able to catch up with her enough until she dies. Of course, he does have the 2 jumps, and by that time, after your second jump, she should be dead. And they're removing Brightwing instead of Falstad. In a dive comp, I think I would have feared Falstad a little bit more because of the Gust, but I guess if they're planning to get the Tyrael, maybe not. I don't know. They both provide the mobility, so why did they squeeze out their own healer? I don't know.
Well, see, the Brightwing ban, I mean, I totally agree with, because of Polymorph and Emerald Winds. Yeah, it's almost as good as a counter as Gust. Gust is only in an ultimate ability, whereas Brightwing has Polymorph as a basic ability, so it's going to be off cooldown more often. I do agree, though, that Falstad is more devastating to a dive comp than Brightwing, but I think that they're just trying to manage the micro portion, the team fight portion. Whereas if they get reset on, it's not going to be a problem because they're not going to get counter engaged. They're not going to get dove upon themselves because they are already showing range in the form of Leeming and Ariel. And the only melee they have is Zool. And Zool's, although quite tanky, it can get blown up pretty quick because he doesn't have an escape.
And there's the deny pick on the Tyrael. Now, Oriole is very good against dive as well with the Aegis, and the Lash even is very annoying. But
blinds, she can blind
and
as
the
well,
blind
yeah.
at 13, yeah. So she's one of my favorite healers against dive for sure. So
now, of the people that they have right now, they only really Li Ming to give Oriole consistent bursts amount with her energy. I really think they need to pick up somebody else, and I would want to see a Lunara maybe. That might be good, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Prism has to be thinking about it right now. The Lunarial, as they coined it on Bloodlust, the new Hollywood power couple comp is so strong. You just get so much energy. It is night and day playing Oriole with Lunara and without right now. And Leeming does give a decent amount, and maybe if you switch the crown to Zool when he puts out his Cursed Strikes or Vicious Strikes or whatever they're called, he can get a lot at once, and then you can kind of switch it back to Leeming.
Another melee in the form of a Rhaegar.
Rhaegar's good to help the dive.
Range. 0 range so far. They have, except Greymane does have kind of that quasi range in human form.
Yeah,
it's not as devastating.
0.5 range, I guess. So, but Rhaegar's very good to dive with the comp. He's not quite as good as something like Karazim, I guess, but he's still very good. If he pounces on Zool, for example, and then drops a totem, he's not getting away. Totem, like, Zool just has 0 escape, so he's relying on that Aegis. He's relying on maybe Wave of Force or something like that to save him.
We get even lucky today. We're gonna see Medivh.
Yeah, and this is something
I'm so privileged right now.
I'm happy because this is something that Prism has told me about before I ever casted their first game. When they were looking for a caster in the Chair League channel, and I replied to their query, their captain told me that they like to pick strange heroes or unconventional heroes, and he mentioned Medivh, but I didn't see them in the first 2 weeks, and he said, the drafts or maps just weren't right, so they didn't go for it, and here we finally see Prism's Medivh, and I am looking forward to it. He is amazing to go with dive comps because, obviously,
portals, shields,
and shields. Yeah. So even if they had to disengage, so here's how like team fights can go, right? Like Kerrigan is gonna jump in on a minion, deep onto the side of R2, and then to try and bait out some abilities, and then she could just jump right back. And even if she doesn't get a reset on her jump for some reason, they can get a portal back in. They can shield her if she gets in trouble for some reason. Right now, there are no instant stuns from the side of R2, so how are they even going to lock all this melee down? They might be able to protect from the melee, but then what happens after? They can't keep them in place to damage them. So it's going to be a very interesting game.
The last pick, Zeratul, is a little bit confusing for me, because there's really no target for a Zeratul to latch onto to just, burst down. You can't really lock onto a Medivh because he has Force of Will every 5 seconds. And, even if you were to just wait for the Force of Will to get cast and then wait for it to go on cooldown, you still only have about 3.5 seconds for Zeratul to melt Medivh, so to speak. But then you still have portals, you have all of the CC that comes in the form of Kerrigan, Muradin. It looks like Zeratul's going to have quite a hard time here. I don't think that he lends very much to a team fight either, except for the Void Prison. But again, it's a disengage because they don't have a combo to set up after. So a little bit worrisome on that pick, but I have to have faith because they are where they are for a reason. These teams are undefeated in their placements, so they must know what they're doing.
Yeah, Zeratul is good for this map in terms because it's big, and we talk about on Dragonshire how it has that pseudo global ability, and it kind of has the same thing here. Let's say they leave Zool alone to do his own rotation and keep the pseudo four in place in the bot lane. Now it's much more dangerous to try to gank Zool with 1 or 2 people because Zeratul could be with him that whole time. So we're just going to start the game. All 10 players are ready, so here we go. And once again, we are in Cherry League Season 3. This is a placement match between two 2-0 teams. And
I believe this is the last placement match for them too this season.
Oh, they're down to 3 games, yeah, I think. So
yeah.
After this, they will be placed. It looks like they're both on their way to Division 1, but I guess that's not possible. One of these teams has to lose, so we'll see who that is in a few minutes.
So I'm going to have to favor Prism's draft here, simply for the fact that they have so much gauge, and then just the ability for Medivh to sort of act as a buffer for any mistakes that might be made, or any possible talents that they may not be expecting, or any possible plays that they're not ready for. Medivh can almost erase those mistakes, so to speak, by just sending down a portal, force of will, and then basically resetting and re-engaging again. So that 5-second cooldown on force of will, just absolutely ridiculous when it comes to a melee comp. And then reabsorption at I believe it's 13 is going to do some work for him too.
Yeah, and on that note too, I'm kind of surprised they picked a Zeratul into a Medivh because he can spot out the shimmer in weird places, and he also has that that dust of appearance.
Dust of appearance, yeah. Introducing the teams here on. We have Team Prism, and we have Deck on Muradin, Iron playing Greymane. Rhaegar is being piloted by Carbon Elite, Brainy Smurf on Medivh, and Dr. Smurf is on Kerrigan.
And on the other side, we have Ray Ryan on Zeratul, Tips and Tricks on Oriel, Stereophonic on Tyrael, Saver on Li Ming, and Turk on Zool. So we see 5-man clash once again. Just West Side Story. Well, let's meet in the middle lane.
Where's
dance
Maria?
Around.
Oh, Zeratul just throwing out that Singularity Spike is actually just going to cause the entire engage to go into Tips and Tricks here. Lots of damage is going down onto Greymane. He is going to get taken out. Li Ming resets Ariel as Medivh goes down as well. Not exactly how we thought this fight was going to go. Kerrigan's going to fall, and Rhaegar just turning around and trying to get heals onto Dex, but he's going to go down as well. So this melee comp did not work out for them in the very beginning here, as the Li Ming resets were very real. That was surprising.
Yeah, well, they all had to stack and took a lot of splash damage, like you were saying, and Zeratul, like, just they had to portal into the tower, into the gates to try and finish Zeratul off, which they did, but it ended up costing them a lot of damage. So it is a little worrisome because Kerrigan
killed Ariel there instead of Zeratul. So
yes,
yeah,
so. Well, either way, they got their kill, but they gave up 2 in return, so 4 in return, sorry, and that's not the best for them. So, and Kerrigan is a strong early fighter, so that is kind of worrisome. But Zool is a strong early fighter too. So, well, the game was going to settle down. So top we have a Greymane versus
lots
Tyrael
of damage going down on the Kerrigan here. Dr. Smurf is taking so Saber having as Carbon Elite and Deck were putting a lot of damage onto her. Everybody made it out of there. That was crazy. Sorry for interrupting, but that was so much damage so fast from both of these teams. They really want this.
Yeah, it is surprising how much fighting is going on early on in this game, actually.
We talk about how much XP is not really given on the first set of kills that come out in the first few minutes. It's less than 100 XP, and although it does take them out of lane to deny the opponent's XP, it's usually a little more risky to try and engage on those team fights because of what we've seen already. You take a 4-man wipe. We already have 6 to 4 kills.
And yeah, we already see that Prism did a very smart thing. They stayed as long as possible in the lanes to catch up on that XP, and now you see they're almost all caught up, erasing the 3 kill advantage that R2 had. And look at this portal, so deep. Oh, they took so much from the AoE.
Is going to go down, so that Nice Force of Will goes down on the deck to prevent the damage coming out from that orb, but that's not going to be enough, as he is going to go down as well. This is going to force a disengage from Prism and essentially forfeit this shrine to R2.
And now we see why Li Ming's just a strong pick all the time. All the AoE damage. They need to, Prism needs to, oh, Bone Prism going down on Kerrigan.
On Kerrigan, she is just going to get immediately obliterated. Something interesting that we did see come out on the Li Ming, we see Aetherwalker and we also see Dominance, two talents that we typically don't see come out in organized team play, simply because Aetherwalker is not it's not beneficial until later on when you get Calamity, and then Dominance, you have a support, and you have one of the best supports actually in the game. So I guess she's just a little bit worried about being further away from Ariel, or possibly taking some pressure off of Ariel as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big map, so Aetherwalker can come in handy.
The only thing that I see a problem later on with
Sorry, you cut
monsters. Oh, sorry. The only problem I see with the Calamity build and Aetherwalker is that the monsters are gonna actually force the Aetherwalker to not proc anytime she's on those altars. So it's not going to be good for the objective. I think I would have liked to have seen something in the form of Force Armor, just because of the heavy ability that comes out from Greymane.
Yeah, and they don't really have any dots, so Force Armor would have gotten some value. Now, Prism needs to think about how they want their next team fights to go, because how they're organizing it right now... Oh, Zool gets Kerrigan comboed.
He did get Kerrigan combo. He is going to get the Bone Prism down onto Greymane's.
Wow, he lived there.
To get out, yeah.
Jeez, that should be no way. I feel like something went wrong there. But yeah, they need to figure out how they want their next team fight to go. They need to... When they enter the portal, they need to spread out immediately. Kerrigan needs to jump on another target. Maybe Muradin Dwarf tosses right away. Greymane pounces on another target or something like that, because the amount of AoE they're taking, especially with like Zool Curse strikes and just kind of the Li Ming combo, is killing them. They just don't have the burst heal to deal with that.
Yeah, not to mention when that portal comes down, you know exactly where.
Good spot out from Dex there, or Deck catching out the invisible Zeratul there. But once again, they just can't seem to find the kill. Despite having such a heavy dive burst comp, they can't find any kills. I'm really worried for Prism right now. Going into this, I would have thought from the previous games, Prism looked a bit cleaner, looked a bit stronger in their games, but right now R2 is really bringing it.
As this second shrine does come up, we did see Team R2 take the mercenary camp in the mid lane. It's going to push the entire time during this objective. They do not have anybody answering that, so that's going to give them lots of value as they are increasingly closer to level 10. Deck taking a lot of damage, and Zeratul coming in from behind, trying to land on him. Iron Lung getting focused on, and Li Ming is going to get 2 kills with that one orb right there. It resets Ariel on her. She is going to get another kill there. Bone Prism is not even going to get a chance to proc, and Carbon Elite is just going to have to back here. So 3 for nothing. Again, forcing the forfeit of this shrine to Team R2.
And oh my goodness, just Oriel just keeping everyone healthy. And this is kind of the second week in a row we're seeing this, where the team with the Oriel is just super healthy after a team fight, while the other team is dead or nearly dead. So, oh my goodness, how are they going to deal with this Oriel? This is crazy. So we see Medivh is working on his Master's Touch, and
he has 12 stacks right now.
Yeah, so... Oh, was there a hero count? I didn't see. Oh no, was that? Okay, that's just the bug that's going on. Okay,
so they're leaving this shrine active right now, which mercenary camp, to be able to push in with it and allow their players to rotate to the lanes first, so they can have Zool already in a lane while Team Prism has to rotate to respond to the Punisher. Good call.
Yeah, definitely. Just guaranteeing this for... I mean, they already guaranteed it, I guess, since they're 2 levels ahead with their heroics. And until... That's a bug that's going on, by the way, viewers. Whenever buildings are going down, it's actually displaying a hero killed message, but that's not really anyone being killed. Anyway, so yeah, until Medivh finishes that Master Touch, that's when kind of Prism can fight again. So yeah, they're gonna have to wait a while.
Unfortunately, he just went down here, so like.
Yeah, I actually didn't even catch that. Medivh players are usually so careful until they can finish that. And it feels like he should have just been bottom here with the team where he could get multiple stacks of Master's Touch with every cast. That's something I've been learning actually in my Medivh training. I've been trying to train myself to play Medivh, and I've learned that, yeah, you just want to be where multiple people are, just casually keep harassing them from a distance and get away with your shield and portals. And here's the invade. It should be nothing that Prism can do about it. Now, this map does have a lot of fog areas, as you can see, like this fog near the shrines, this fog around the shrines that people have to rotate through to try and make some good party bush plays and stuff like that. And with Medivh keeping an eye on all of them, they should hopefully be able to find a pick or something to get back into this game, because with the mercenary changes where you don't get XP for killing captured mercs anymore, it's going to be really tough for them to come back in a conventional manner.
I think I'm actually experiencing this bug right now, because I went to go look at Medivh's Master's Touch stacks, and now I cannot not focus on him. I have to drag the camera. So very weird bugs going on with this this most recent patch.
Yeah, there are a couple of them, but we'll just have to work with it. Greymane, is he going to sense the danger right now? Because he is flying into the danger zone. Oh goodness. Okay, looks like they don't want to jump on him yet. Oh, and Medivh scouts them out, and that's kind of the power of Medivh. You always have eyes on your opponent.
This is going to be a rotation to the top shrine here. Lanes are pushed quite far in the mid lane and the bot lane for Team R2, so Prism needs to either take this quickly or needs to respond, because they are still talent tier down. I don't think they've been on even talents since level 7. So this is, again, just very one-sided when it comes to their shrines. And
that Dust of Appearance actually missed Zeratul, which actually makes this engage that much harder. And I'm surprised they're not checking that bush anyway. I guess with Medivh they thought, checking it, they thought they didn't, but they didn't have to. But here comes Zeratul.
He's going to get a lot, and that Ancestral is going to go down on Dr. Smurf. The Skeleton Mages and Saints and Aegis come down. That was Cleanse onto Iron Lung on Greymane. Deck's going to take a lot of damage and go down. Dr. Smurf's going to take a lot of damage and go down. The Li Ming resets in this situation really are just securing all of these kills for them.
Yeah, and we like to talk about how Zul doesn't bring the most utility to a team fight, but when you're this far ahead, it doesn't even matter.
Saber taking a lot of damage from Rhaegar there, but he's going to get saved by Zul and Ariel here. So that dominance coming into play, saving her, giving her some life back. So Medivh was not able to take her out with that Arcane Rift.
Yeah, and this is another disastrous team fight for Prism. At least Medivh stays alive, so the Master's Touch dream is still alive, but they're going to be
halfway there.
Yeah, he's going to be running out of time, is kind of the unfortunate thing. Oh, Zul gets caught here, and without an escape, he's guaranteed to die.
That is what they needed. However, it's not going to be in time. The Shrine is going to get captured here. They are waiting again once more. They're going to actually Hearth for mana. Great call here. So they decide to Hearth for mana. They're going to leave one around. They have a minion with a Stitch of Health in case Ariel has to just go in there and claim it. And they want to make sure that they're all ready and healthy. As you see, Saber and Ray Ryan in the mid and bot lanes just going to clear up those minion waves before they push with the Punisher. And they are allowing Prism here to get on this shrine, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to get in there, but again, they only need one, so it's not going to be too difficult. Lots of control going down on the Carbon Elite here as Li Ming goes in for the teleport, gets that last minion kill for their team, and the Punisher is now pushing in that great teleport, great portal there, excuse me, to get out of there before the Punisher on anybody. This is just they're gonna sacrifice this fort here. They have to. There's nothing they can do about it.
And this is kind of the shot calling that we saw in the first 2 weeks from R2. That was really good, just keeping it at 39, knowing they could come in at any point. And what were the options there? I think Prism should have taken Mercs. I think that was probably their best option. They could have tried to pressure a fort, but they could have just R2 could have just answered with 4 while one person gets the last minion. So
indeed, you are going to see Zul go down. Oh,
No,
Was that Zul?
Greymane and
Uh,
Rhaegar went down. Yeah,
oh, okay, yeah. It just said, yeah. I keep saying Zul dying and Kerrigan dying, but neither
yeah,
of them.
those are old
Oh, Kerrigan
messages.
just died now. Yeah, crazy. I actually have to look now. I can't look at my. Yeah, just say Kerrigan died 3 times.
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, they're looking to push the core, and this is going to be the end of Prism's perfect run. I know they have a couple of Masters players on their side, so this is going to be pretty shocking for them. I think they expected to be in Division One, and it was a really well played game from both sides. The draft just didn't work out how we thought it would. They like Prism had such a strong early game fighting team, and they just couldn't. They got smoked.
Yeah, it was so decisive in the draft. The ability for them to dive on and latch on to any hero that they wanted and just absolutely erase them was super high. The potential was there. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't as present, and it showed right out the gate, losing 4 heroes for one. Almost immediately. By the time the first shrine came up, there were already 10 kills amongst both teams. So that in and of itself just shows the amount of damage that both teams are able to do. But it just looked like R2 was able to execute it a little more flawlessly.
Yeah, and Prism did such a great job catching up in experience. Like by the time that first shrine ran around, it was level 4.5 for R2 and level 4.25 for Prism. So they did a great job catching up on XP, not by not killing people weirdly, because you see they only killed 2 people the whole game. They just couldn't finish them. Obviously, when after the Oriole team had a level advantage, it got harder, but. But even in the early stages, when they had the Kerrigan combo, they had the Greymane burst, they had, Rhaegar diving with them and Murd, and just they couldn't kill anyone. I just don't believe it. I almost can't believe it looking at this draft.
Yeah, it seems as though a little bit of an execution to dive in and target
You
that they
cut
were.
off there.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It was an execution error. Maybe they weren't following the same target, or maybe they weren't trying to, engage at the same time, or somebody was low on mana or had cooldowns. It just what I would give to be a fly on the wall or an ear in the comms.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll ask the captain of Prism later about how that all derailed, because I really, yeah, I mean, looking at the draft, like we said already, just confused as to how this dive team couldn't kill anyone, especially early on. I mean, later on, maybe with Aegis and Sanct, maybe it would get harder, and Void Prison, of course. But I don't. Did we even see a Void Prison? I don't think it even had to be used. So
No, he actually took Shadow Assault.
oh, did he? Okay, so yeah, there you go. So they went for even more damage, and Shadow Assault. We don't ever see it, but it's actually a great talent when you're ahead. There are some talents that are kind of win more, but when you're in that situation where you're ahead, a tool like Shadow Assault just means the other person can't get away, and they're forced to engage you. So, and once you have the level advantage, so once they're forced to be running away, a talent like Shadow Assault will just seal the deal. So, and that's exactly what it did this game. So.
And it provides that much needed gap closer that Zero Toll wants in the form of the charge when you are basic attacking with Shadow Assault, because you typically want to save Blink for disengage or to get away or get out of trouble. So it was almost like a secondary gap closer for him. So it worked in his favor, and we even saw it at level 7 searing attacks come out from Zero Toll. So just more damage and more damage coming down.
Yeah, just
Very
a classic basic attacks build. And the thing about Shadow Assault is if the portals are close enough, it just doesn't even matter. If they keep going through the portals, you just keep attacking them. So it's a great counter against the portals. So I wonder how practiced R2 is against Medivh, because they look like they handled that extremely well. And having been playing Medivh a lot in Quick Match, Li Ming is one of the most annoying counters to Medivh, because she can just fire her combo onto the portals in a straight line, and no matter which portal you're at, you're gonna be taking the damage. So you got to be really careful when going through those portals.
Something else that I didn't get a chance to point out, I noticed, but we got caught up with team fights, was the extreme confidence that Zul had against all of that melee to take backlash instead of shade. I mean, they only had the one tank. The health pools aren't very high on the rest of the heroes, so taking backlash just to increase their damage again, more damage coming out from their side. Maybe that played into a factor, but shade not even picked up. Yeah,
but I mean, that's the thing, right? He either knew they weren't going to focus him, so he didn't need shade, because they're targeting Li Ming and Oriel, of course, yeah. Right? Secondly, if they do target him through the shield, then they've already wasted a lot of cooldowns that they spent having to engage. So that's still a win for them. So I really like this build from the Zul, actually. Taking Weaken at level 7, which is not usual either, just knowing that all the fights are going to be clumped. They're going to be coming through the portal, they're going to be stacking on top of the backline, trying to kill one of the weak backline heroes. This is the perfect build. A great job by the Turk. And just great choices all around. Like we said, the auto attack build from Zeratul, although not the usual one we see, is just perfect. It worked out perfectly. So, wow, actually, Oriel didn't even take the blind at 13. She took Repelling Strike.
That's the increased distance on the whip, right?
Yeah. So wow, just really odd, different choices coming out here, but it worked out really well. Yeah, it was just perfect against the comp they were facing. So really well done. Congratulations to R2, who go 3-0 in their placements, and this is their last placement match. This is the last placement match for this season of Chair League only has 3 placement matches, so I assume R2 is going into Division 1, and I assume Prism is going into Division 2, where we might eventually face them, who knows. So yeah.
And we have all your secrets now.
Yeah, I've been casting your games, so I know all about them. So, anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you to all the players for playing once again. Really interesting drafts and really well executed drafts. And thank you to my co-caster, Argmikey. Where can they find you?
Twitch.tv/ARGMikey.
And to do a little bit self-promotion, I do have a YouTube channel now. You can find the info below. If you like the cast, please hit the follow button, and I'll upload the VODs to YouTube later. So thanks again. I'm signing up for now. I'll be back a little bit later to stream our Chair League practice. So stick around if you wish, or otherwise have a good night.
Follow your dreams.